Yo, what up, what up? It's your man, Big Brandon Carter. If you do what everyone else is doing, you're gonna get what everyone else is getting. If you wanna be better than everyone else, you have to do something different. For example, when you see the Olympics, you see the event, the high jump. You see guys, they run up to the bar and then they jump over it backwards. That wasn't always the case. Prior to 1968, they used to do something called the scissor kick, where they would like try to go sideways, like jump over with one foot over and then the other foot over, or they would. There's a lot of different methods, but nobody was jumping over backwards. Nobody was jumping over backwards. In the 1968 Olympics, a guy named Dick Fosbury started jumping over backwards. He was the first one to do it. And everybody was laughing at him, thought he was a fucking clown. They couldn't believe that this guy they saw him practicing and was like, what is this joker doing? This guy's a fucking moron. How did he even get to compete with us? They ended up winning the gold medal and setting a new Olympic world record that year, right? Because he did something different. He challenged the status quo. He challenged conventional thinking. Everybody thought you had to go over with the scissor kick. You had to go over frontwards. He decided to go backwards. He challenged conventional thinking and he got better results. Everyone thought that there was one way to do the high jump. He didn't accept that there was only one way. He found his own way and he ended up setting a new world record. Now every high jumper does that now. Another example. Initially, basketball players, none of them lifted weights. They thought it was counterproductive for basketball players to lift weights because they assumed it would throw their shots off, right? And coaches would prohibit their players from lifting weights. They made sure that none of them lifted weights. They just thought the only exercise they really did was cardio. They thought that a basketball is mostly running. You got to do cardio. Then a guy came along named Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain wrote in his autobiography, The View from the Top. It's around here somewhere. He wrote that he was one of the only basketball players who was lifting weights. He used to lift weights all the time. He wrote in his book, he thought that that's what gave him such an advantage. People don't understand how dominant Wilt Chamberlain was. He was way more dominant during his era than Michael Jordan was during his, or way more dominant than LeBron's been. Like, there's a few times that Michael Jordan scored over 50 points and everybody got all excited, Like, Michael Jordan's still my favorite basketball player, but there's a few times that Michael Jordan scored over 50 points and people would they go crazy. Everybody went haywire, right? Wilt Chamberlain averaged over 50 points. There was one season he averaged over 50 points. The average was over 50 points. There was a few games where he would put up 100 points. Like, it was sheer dominance. He had 9 scoring titles, like 11 rebounding titles. It was the one year he led the league in assists. Like, he was the most dominant basketball player of all time. I'm not saying he's the best, but he was the most dominant. And the reason he was able to dominate his field is because he lifted weights. That's what he writes in his autobiography. He wrote it was due to he was lifting weights and nobody else was. Everybody thought it was bad to lift weights, so he was like the only athlete in the NBA lifting weights all the time. There was a few times he worked out with Arnold Schwarzenegger, even, like he was getting it in when nobody else was, and that's allowed him to dominate the field. See, what happened was he challenged conventional thinking. All right, he did not accept the status quo, and that's what you need to do to be better than everyone else. When Thomas Edison was trying to figure out how to invent the light bulb, when he had the idea that maybe we can have electric light, people thought he was a fucking moron. They were like, you know what, man? You really fucking up. You really lost it, Thomas. You really lost it. Can't you fucking understand that man is destined to walk around with candles and shit for forever? Can't you just get that shit through your motherfucking head? And he kept failing. He failed like thousands of times. And everybody was looking at him like, can't you just see this shit ain't gonna work? But that was the general consensus. Electric light was a fucking pipe dream. But he challenged conventional thinking and he figured out a way. And now, this is not candlelight right now, you know what I'm saying? Challenging conventional thinking is paramount. It is essential to greatness. You cannot do what everyone else is doing and expect to get different results. You have to challenge the status quo. You have to challenge what everyone believes is the right way, or what everyone, or all the assumptions. Figure out something different. And that's how you find your lane and you become better than everyone else. You don't see, the fool's error is trying to compete with everyone else and what they're doing. That's a fucking sucker move, right? There's always someone better. There's always someone better. The best thing to do is to find your own lane, is to not do what everyone else is doing. Challenge conventional thinking, do something different. You understand what I'm saying? Like, don't try to invent the next Facebook. Facebook is Facebook because it was the first Facebook, right? You know what I'm saying? Mark Zuckerberg didn't, if he was just a fucking regular guy, a dumbass entrepreneur, would have tried to make the next Yahoo, right? Because Yahoo was popping before Facebook. Would have tried to make the next Yahoo. But you have to make something different to stand out, right? And then they tried to make other Facebooks. Those all failed. Those of you who've read the Science of Getting Rich, Wallace Wallace, he spoke about it. You got to get off of the competition, the competitive plane. You have to get off of the competitive plane and get on the creative plane. All right, challenge assumptions, do things differently than everyone else. That's the only way to get different results. Because if you're just like everyone else, man, you're fighting. If you're on the same fucking track as everyone else, then you have to play their game. You have to be better than everyone to be the best. If you're just doing what everyone else is doing, but there's always someone better than you. All right, there's always someone better than you. But if you make your own lane, get on a different track, then you stand out. You're automatically better. Sometimes different is better than better. Remember that. I tell people that all the time. Sometimes different is better than better. And people always love new shit. People always love new shit. So if you're just a better version of the shit that was already out, it's just whatever, you know. But if you've really done something different, now you stand out. Do shit different. And if you're going to do the same thing, do it in a way that no one has ever seen before. The same way Dick Frosby, you know, he flipped over backward. He did that shit in a way that no one ever seen before. No one can compete with him because now he's doing something totally different. No one can compete with Wilt Chamberlain because he had a different training protocol that was so advanced there was no way they can compete with him. He was doing something totally different. You couldn't compete with Thomas Edison because he's the only one who was making electric light bulbs. You understand what I'm saying? Don't try to be like everyone else. Because then, if you're just trying to be a better version of everyone else, that's what everyone tries to do. Everyone tries to be a better version of everyone else. And that's fucking, one that's lazy, and you're not really adding. You add by innovation. That's what I'm trying to say. Challenge conventional thinking all the time. And you got to get in the habit of challenging conventional thinking. How many social norms have you blindly adapted with never ever questioning them? People say, "Hey, Brandon, you should stop cursing so fucking much." I'm like, "Why? Can you give me any data to show that cursing is bad for you? That cursing damages people in any way? Words are merely a collection of sounds. They're merely organized sounds. How can a sound be bad? They only have the meaning that we give behind them. They only have the meaning we give them. It's all about context. There's no such thing as a bad word." Right? At least that's me. That's how I see it. You might disagree with me, and you're welcome to do that. But at least but the truth is, most of you only think that these words are bad because you've been indoctrinated in that belief system. You've never stopped to question everything. Don't just blindly accept shit like a robot. Don't accept the status quo. Don't accept conventional thinking because people are often wrong. Anyway, people are often wrong. It's like, you know, back in the day, man, everybody thought that the sun revolved around the earth. Like that was conventional thinking. That was the general consensus. Then Galileo said, "Nah, man, you guys got this shit all wrong. The earth revolves around the sun, man. What the fuck is wrong with y'all?" Like do research. If everybody, you can't just accept what you hear or what the general consensus is, man. Because it'll have you fucked up. People are often wrong. All right, people are often wrong. The general consensus is often wrong. Like I meet people every day who say, "Oh man, yo, but kids shouldn't work out because it'll stunt your growth." In all of human history, there's never been any scientific evidence to suggest that. There's never been proven that. There have been studies on this. The American Association of Pediatrics did a long-term study of the effects of resistance training on the growth of children, and they concluded that there was no that there was fucking that it didn't affect linear growth in any way. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a misnomer. But people think that, people just believe that shit, but like it's not true. You have to challenge you have to challenge everything. You have to question everything. Just because people say it, just because people believe it, does not mean it's true. Don't just blindly accept shit like a robot. Be your own person. Think for your fucking self. Figure shit out, man. Be creative. Don't just be a better version of everyone else. Be innovative. Leave your mark here on earth, man. Don't just be another fucking robot. We don't need that, man. We don't need that. Nobody remembers that. Nobody remembers the guy who's just marginally better than everyone else. Or just the same as everyone else. You know, just average. You want to stand out, to be exceptional, to be better than everyone else. You have to be innovative. You have to question the assertions. You have to question the belief systems that you were indoctrinated into. You have to question everything. Find your own path. Make your own way. Do things. If you don't, then you'll be doing things just like everyone else. And if you do what everyone else does, you're going to get what everybody else gets. Find your own lane. Be innovate. And that's how don't compete with people. Innovate. Have people chasing after what you're doing. And that's how you become better than everyone else.